Thanks, Dustin. My favorite thing is Dustin makes the recording announcement. Everybody goes, screen off. We're good. If you're just joining us, we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. We'll get started about 9:02, 9:03, just to let everybody get in for the start. You should be able to see the presentation up on the screen. If you can't, just give a shout and maybe I can reshare my screen, but hopefully everybody can see it.
Morning, Sarah.
Hello.
Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, Jenny, are you both here ready to get going?
Yes, sir.
I thought I put Jenny here too.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Washko. I'm the Executive Director of Career and Employer Engagement here with the ACE, and we're really excited to have you join for our virtual roadshow. We'd love to be doing this in person, but obviously with things the way that they are, we've made the adjustment and pivot to allow for more folks to join us and to share what we're doing in this new initiative. So again, thank you all, faculty, staff, for the opportunity for us to share our reconceptualized student experience that's part of the Ohio Guarantee Plus Student Success Initiative. So with us today, unfortunately, Jen Murphy is out sick with a cold, so she will not be joining us, but we do have an incredible team that's going to be sharing a little bit throughout today. As I mentioned, my name is Chris Washko. We also have Jenny Klein here, who is the Executive Director of Academic Advising and Graduation Plans. And we have Dr. Lindsay Rudabaugh, Executive Director of Experiential Learning. So over the course of the presentation this morning, we're going to go through and share a little bit about the full scope, and then each of our different areas, walk you through some hypothetical student situations, and leave time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. So just to get started in sharing about the Guarantee Plus, this is a new student success initiative for our institution where students will co-create graduation plans with their advisor and have intentional touch points every semester. We've designed these graduation plans for students to graduate on time and on plan, typically in 4 years or less. These plans are customized by academic programs and personalized for each student, which integrates required touch points in academic advising, career coaching, and experiential learning. In order to build a sustainable infrastructure for these graduation plans, it requires a 4-year rollout. So we launched stage 1 back in fall 2020 with 28 academic programs. And so I was in the College of Business when we rolled out in stage 1. This year we have 107 programs that are launching. And then the final 106 programs, which will include regional higher ed and e-campus, will be implemented in fall of 22 and fall of 23. And so again, this is just kind of rehashing some of the pieces that have already been in place. But we've included this slide just as a reminder of the vision that was set forth by the provost and serves as the context to build the infrastructure that we are putting into place. Now, any initiative is nothing without accountability. We're working with the Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Analytics on current reporting standards, the methods for collecting that data, and how we can further quantify the effectiveness of the Guarantee Plus. Specifically, we plan to provide our stakeholders with student success metrics and a dashboard and regularly update you on our progress. So the slide here, you can see some of the proof of concept within the College of Business and the first phase rollout of the Guarantee Plus. We anticipate gains in retention, graduation, placement, participation, and to close equity gaps. Our intention is to engage students initially at BSO in a way that encourages them to opt into their graduation plans and to co-create their plans with their success advisor in the first semester. Throughout the student's undergraduate journey, they'll explore co-curricular opportunities with an experienced designer who will help the student better understand their interests and their goals, while also understanding the industries and opportunities that are within those through career education and an alumni engagement. We also thought it would be helpful to share with you a snapshot of a graduation plan and what that looks like. So as you can see here, the graduation plan tracks curricular milestones down the left-hand side and the co-curricular milestones on the right. So a student can easily see their undergraduate progress at any point in time. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the many partners across campus who collaborated to implement this systemic change. The graduation plans were designed in a homegrown manner for each degree program and implemented through existing technology within the Office of Information Technology and the Office of the Registrar. As we refine these systems, we collaborated with over 20 units across campus, including department chairs, to build customized plans and organize milestones into an 8-semester template. It has truly taken a village to implement these graduation plans, and we would especially like to thank our colleagues in OIT and the Registrar. So as we start to take you through our reconceptualized model of the student experience and how we support them, it starts with our new home on College Green in McGuffey. So our team is located in McGuffey Hall. We view our office to serve students from a coordinated care approach by intentionally weaving together advising, experiential learning, and career engagement throughout the student life cycle. Our team also serves as a scaffolded wraparound support structure for each student, rather than leaving the student to navigate disconnected expertise in silos. To better engage students, a hub and spoke concept has been implemented. Our new office in McGuffey serves as the hub, and the colleges serve as the spokes. To visually depict how our office will engage our students, we have this foundation of the graduation plans. And what we have built are our 3 pillars, our 3 functions with Allen Advising, Career Achievement Network, and the Experiential Learning Hub, which we've all come to call the ACE. And so we're really excited about this new model and what we're building. But really, what does it look like for our students? That's what we want to share today. So that way you can have a much better idea of what students will go through, how you might engage with our team. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to Jenny Klein to start walking through this process.
Thanks, Chris. I'd like to introduce you to 4 student stories. Their experiences are created from real concerns and successes that students have brought to us in Allen Advising. Using these stories, we compiled the hypothetical students that I'm going to tell you about now, so no FERPA concerns. Brian is a philosophy major hoping to go to law school. Sam is a history major hoping to work in a museum. Jonathan is exploring his options, looking for a major that inspires him. And Michael is a finance major hoping to become an asset manager. We start by understanding that all of these students opted into the graduation plan at Bobcat Student Orientation. And over the next few slides, I'll show you how their Ohio University experience is enriched by having a graduation plan. Next slide. Thanks. During the first semester, each of these students made a graduation plan with their success advisor and agreed that it was an appropriate plan for their goals and that they would like to follow it during their time with us. Jonathan, Sam, and Michael got off to a strong start, completing their academic, experiential, and career milestones that Chris referenced earlier when he showed you the graduation plans. Brian, however, was off plan at the end of fall semester because he dropped a course and didn't complete 15 credit hours. His status of being off plan became visible to him in his student center and to his academic advisor in the faculty and advising center the week after the term was over. His advisor, therefore, reached out to him, talked about what went right and what went wrong fall semester, and developed a new plan with him, which he confirmed he would stick to. That allowed him to start strong spring semester. Next slide. In the spring semester, Brian, as promised, sticks to his plan. Sam and Michael stay on plan again and are successful in meeting their milestones. However, Jonathan, who was on plan at the end of fall semester, starts to lose motivation, still unsure of what he wants to major in. His advisor is notified via the My Ohio Success Network that Jonathan isn't doing well in English and biology. His success advisor reaches out to him and refers him to tutoring, the writing center, and supplemental instructions, all wonderful free opportunities through the Academic Achievement Center. She helps him make appointments, but he doesn't keep them. And when she follows up, he explains that he has stopped attending those classes and needs to drop them. They have deeper conversations about his priorities and his strengths, and his advisor learns about his love for art, helping him to find an interesting internship where he can explore that field. Next slide. What you hear from these stories is that at Ohio University, unlike any other major institution in the country, each student is observed and marked on or off plan at the end of each term. Their progress is maintained in their student center and outreach is conducted within the context of their relationship with their success advisor, which increases their likelihood of asking for help. This constant monitoring and early intervention saves students time and money and adds depth to their Ohio University experience because it is about more than academics. It is also about their career planning and their co-curricular experiences, which Lindsay will share with you.
All right, thanks, Jenny. Okay, so in addition to their success advisor, students will also have access to an experiential learning staff member who serves in their specific college. The role of our experiential design staff is twofold. First, to help students find, prepare for, and reflect on experiential learning opportunities, and two, to help faculty and staff enhance and expand the university's portfolio of experiential learning opportunities. Our Gen Ed now requires students to engage in at least one credit of experiential learning, and graduation plans encourage more than one. So it's really important that we make sure we have enough opportunities available to students. So that's thus our interest in expansion. Now, people often think about internships when they think about experiential learning, and that is, of course, absolutely one example. But as some of you might know, the university uses an expanded definition that also includes community engagement, research, creative activity, leadership opportunities, and study away for a total of 6 different types of experiential learning. The outcomes of this broader set of experiences span professional skill development, social awareness, and, we hope, active citizenship. So to get back to our example students, Sam is our history major who wants to work at a museum after graduation. She's currently working at the Kennedy Museum on campus, so she's already getting experience in her intended field. But she knows that her graduation plan pushes her to get well-rounded experience. So Sam meets with her college's experiential design staff, and they encourage her to explore other types of experiential learning that might help her understand her field through new perspectives. They look through the Student Opportunity Center, or SOC, as we're calling it. This is a new tool we're using. It pulls information from a variety of university systems and national databases too into one searchable database. We are calling this Students' Front Door for finding EL opportunities, as well as ways to satisfy their Guarantee Plus milestones. So Sam and her experiential designer look in SOC for study abroad programs in England, England is Sam's destination of choice. And then the experiential designer also shows her some qualitative research projects that history and museum professionals are working on nationally. Sam had not ever considered doing research, but she's intrigued, and she decides she'd like to talk that through a bit with her faculty mentor. Before Sam leaves her appointment, her experiential designer does two things. First, she helps her schedule a meeting with the Office of Global Opportunities to formally start the study abroad process. And second, she adds a reflection milestone to Sam's graduation plan for the semester after she returns from England. This milestone will help make sure Sam has mentorship to help her reflect on what she learned about herself, her discipline, and her role as a global citizen while she was abroad. So Jenny's team helps students find and get started down their path. My team is in place to help students maximize their curricular and co-curricular experiences. And then we pass the baton to Chris Washko's team, which is working to ensure that students achieve their post-graduation goals. And with that, I will turn it back to Chris.
Thanks, Lindsay. So let me get next slide here. So our new Career Achievement Network is really an opportunity for students to engage in career support anytime they are a student here at Ohio University and even when they're an alum. But the way that we're going to do this is a little bit different than what's been done in the past. So we're going to use Michael, one of our students, as an example and how he'll engage with the Career Achievement Network during his final years. So Michael will meet with one of the assistant directors to understand his career goals and aspirations and build off of the conversations that he's had with success advisors and the experience designers in the college. But we're going to help him focus by meeting with an assistant director in the industries that are most interested to him. And this industry focus is new to Ohio University, but has been successful at many other institutions across the campus, including Rutgers, Indiana University, and the University of Notre Dame. What we've done is we've taken best practices from those institutions and molded them and adapted them to fit Ohio University, because we want to make sure that what we implement here will work for our students. So Michael will work based off of those industries. We're going to help him search for internships and full-time jobs and possibly even research opportunities and other things that will help him leverage the connections that he's made and also leverage his experiences to, again, find his career path, hone in, develop those skills and competencies to achieve his postgraduate goal. Our Career Achievement Network is going to work tirelessly to connect Michael to alumni and employers, both in the finance and analytics fields, which are, again, his areas of study and where he wants to pursue his post-grad life. And then again, as he transitions from being a student here to being an alumni, we want to make sure that his postgraduate goal is attained. And you'll hear me say postgraduate goal instead of placement, just because that can look very, very different depending on the student. So a postgraduate goal could be a study away experience. It could be graduate school. It could be a full-time job or a fellowship. And so we want to make sure that we're working with the student to achieve their goal. Now, what you see here on the left side is a typical journey that a student might go through for career support on campus. And so when a student is in that career exploration phase, usually it's that first and second year, they're going to be meeting with success advisors and experience designers in the college. But you, like myself, have met with students that from the moment they step on campus, they have a really good idea of what they want to do. They know, they've been working towards it. And the great part about it is any student can transition from career exploration to career engagement at any point in time during their college journey. And they have that support both from the college-based success advisors, experience designers, and also the industry focus with the Career Achievement Network. But once a student transitions into that career engagement, that means they've started to zero in on specific industries that they'd like to work in. And our team begins a really targeted career support for connecting them to those alumni and employers that make the most sense for them specifically. And they'll continue to work with our assistant directors until they've achieved their postgraduate goal. Now, as we look at the picture on the right, I'd like to circle back to our 4 hypothetical students. And we're going to start with Brian, who's not listed here. If you remember back a few slides, Brian was interested in going to law school. So he has worked with our assistant director for law, policy, and government, who is Larry Heyman, who you'll see in a couple slides here, to achieve his goal of attending law school. And if you have any students that are interested in going to law school, we do have an in-person law school fair on October 7th. Students can register for that in Handshake. I'll share the link after the presentation. But then you see the other three students, Sam, Michael, and Jonathan, who are three different majors from three different colleges, but who have worked with our assistant directors to land full-time jobs when they graduate. And so they have all connected with our assistant director, who is working with COSI out of Columbus, to connect with that employer and find opportunities that fit what they are looking for. And so again, this industry approach allows for students to meet with different assistant directors on my team based off of their interests. Now we're going to take a second just to introduce you to our teams. And so we'll go through, and I'll start with the Career Achievement Network, and we'll cycle through. So that way you can see the faces that you and our students are going to be able to connect with. So here we have Aaron Sturgill, who's the Associate Director for Career and Employer Engagement. And Aaron will be working with key partners and employers and really supporting all career initiatives across campus like myself. We have Tamika Williams, who's our Assistant Director for Career Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And she is working with both students and employers on those different topics and areas, including doing different events like the Diversity First Career Fair. She also has hosted C10, which is a kind of like a TED Talk panel with different employers where it is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion topics. And then we also have our success advisors that will provide that career exploration and really entry-level career support within the colleges. But I'll have Jenny Klein talk a little bit more about the success advisors here in just a moment. And then we have our assistant directors who, as I mentioned before, are working within industries. And so you have Larry, who's working with government law policy. I am still looking to hire one last assistant director who's going to be working in advertising, arts, entertainment, journalism, marketing, media. Sorry, that's a mouthful. We have Holly Seckinger working with accounting, business consulting, finance, retail industries. Marcus Parham, who's working with education, hospitality, human services, nonprofit, sport, and tourism. We have Nancy Edwards Grady, who will be working with the industries of healthcare, wellness, and science. And finally, Caleb Biesecker, who is working with construction, data, engineering, manufacturing, math, and technology. Lots of different industries. I know that not all industries are clearly represented, but they all do funnel into one of those that are listed here. Now, the great part about this is with this change up, any student from any major across campus, once they have identified the types of companies and the industries that they want to work in, have access to all of these assistant directors at any point in time. So that's one of the shifts in how our model works. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Jenny to introduce the advising team.
Thanks, Chris. There is a lot of collaboration across campus for advising right now, and there will continue to be. Now there are success advisors in each college with graduation plans, and importantly, faculty members still will guide students in their field of expertise in a mentorship role. And then out of Allen Advising, we still run early intervention programs. So like the My Ohio Success Network, Persistence Plus, those are still supported and managed centrally. On my team, you will probably become familiar with, if you haven't met yet, Ashley Beatty-Smith, Associate Director of Advising, and Soraya Padia Abdullah, who is Associate Director of Graduation Plans. The three of us will work with you to make sure you have all of the support you need for graduation plan advising and for early intervention programs. And then Lindsay will introduce you to her team.
All right. So this is my beautiful team you see here. So we've got two associate directors, so I'll move from left to right. Kim Jeffers is our associate director for access and engagement, experiential access. So she's really trying to understand the barriers that exist, both real and perceived, for students engaging in experiential learning, and then trying to remove those barriers. So that is her full-time job, a very student-centered position. And then Jed Walker is our Associate Director for Signature Programs. So he will be a likely partner with all of you, working to, again, expand our experiential learning portfolio. So Judd is doing that on broad scale, so looking at interdisciplinary and cross-departmental partnerships. Barb Harrison is our assistant director. She serves both in the Office of Experiential Learning as well as the Center for Campus and Community Engagement, so she has a split position. And then Nicole and Chloe and Courtney are assistant directors for experiential design. So they are embedded in colleges and are working with students in those colleges to help advise on the civic milestones, but to also help advise on finding and engaging in experiential learning opportunities. So Nicole, as you see there, is in the College of Arts and Sciences, Chloe is in the Colleges of Business and Engineering, and Courtney is in the Colleges of Fine Arts, Communication, and then University College. So that is our full team. Next slide, please. So I am going to pop in the chat 2 important links. So the first is a form to tell us about programs that you might offer that you think might align to milestones. So the second thing I put there is the full list of milestones. That will be important to knowing whether or not you offer a program that could satisfy a milestone. So a question we predict getting very quickly when students start sitting with their advisors the week of October 4th and building their graduation plans is, okay, I've got all of these milestones, but how do I achieve them? What can I do? And so we are working feverishly to get a website built that can give some general information to answer that question, but then also get all of our programming information across campus into that database I mentioned earlier, the Student Opportunity Center. So SOC will be the place where students can go to find information about a wide variety of things, but information that includes the date and the time and the location and how to sign up and who's eligible and so on and so forth. So in order for the SOC to be really robust and our website to be really robust and for students to have an answer to how do I satisfy each particular milestone, we do need help from across campus, from all of you and your colleagues. And so that form, the Qualtrics form, is a way to share information. We are also doing a lot of direct outreach. We are also going to the calendar of university events to try to pull information together. But we'd love to be able to describe your program in your words and rather than make guesses. So if you could help us by filling that out and disseminating it, that would be much, much appreciated. And the milestone list there is also linked inside the Qualtrics form. But an important thing to know, one of the things that this form will ask you is, can you take attendance at your event? It is one thing for students to say, I went to this thing. One of the milestones is attend an academic event. So if they go to a lecture series and then they go and they tell their advisor, I went to a lecture series. How does the advisor really know? And then we don't really have good metrics on the different things that the students are doing. So we would love to be able to take attendance, and we have created, we have two platforms that help us do that. And so we have available to you this semester an ACE staff member who will come and help take attendance at your event using these two systems that we have employed. So there is support, all of that to say, and we need your help. So I'm going to turn it back over to Chris. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Lindsay. And with that wraps up the presentation side of our roadshow, but we definitely wanted to leave time to be able to answer any questions that you might have. And so we're just shy of 30 minutes, which I think is pretty good. We got through that pretty quickly. But again, thank you all for coming and attending, and feel free to raise your hand, unmute yourself, put a question in the chat. We're happy to answer those. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen so I can see some faces. And I see Kate.
Yeah, I attended this. I'm a psychologist at CPS, and I attended this meeting because I wanted to hear more about academic advising. Because there's a lot of conversations that happen in our offices by students around frustrations with majors and class choices and getting help from advisors. And so I'm curious. Two questions. One is, if I hear from a student that my advisor isn't very helpful, I'm not getting direct answers, or I'm not, like, I keep emailing my advisor, they're not emailing me back, what can I tell the client? And then also, is there a process for grievances with advisors, and what is that process that I could advise them on?
I can answer that. Kate, that's a great question. Every college office has an assistant dean and someone who can assign a student a new advisor. So I would say that if a student is unhappy with their academic advisor, they should talk with their assistant dean, or in some cases, if they're from a pretty large school, the chair of the department or the director of the school can also help them in that with their advising. Every student does have the right to change advisors if they would like to request for a different advisor, but often those communication struggles can be cleared up by just talking to one more person to better understand what the advisor was telling them initially. I see some other good experts on this topic on the call. Sarah or Maureen, would you like to give your perspective on how to answer Kate's question?
Sure. So I just want to note for the College of Arts and Sciences, keep in mind that we'll have folks who still have their faculty advisors, but that all undergraduate students can reach out to undergraduate advising and student affairs. That's Randy's shop, so Randy Price's shop, right, over in Gordie Hall. And so you can access them online. And so if students are having trouble, those folks can help every single student across the college, especially if they're still connected, which we still really want them to be connected to their faculty advisors. They can get that kind of assistance sometimes more quickly with the folks at undergraduate student affairs who have walk-in hours, who have virtual walk-in hours, ways to schedule virtual appointments as well there. And you can go directly to their webpage, or direct the student, directly to their webpage to make those online appointments or to figure out what their walk-in hours are. Thanks, Jenny.
Mm-hmm. Maureen, would you like to add anything to this?
I think Sarah did a really great job.
Okay, thanks. One thing, Kate, sometimes a student wants to change their academic advisor because what they really want to change is their major. If there is a student in transition between majors, or they're unhappy with their major, they don't feel like it's a good fit for them and they don't know what to major in, that is something that we specialize in Allen Advising in McGuffey. And so a student can make an appointment with any advisor in Allen Advising by clicking on the links in our website. We use bookings, and it's very easy to make drop-in or scheduled appointments for students who want to talk about transitioning to a different major.
Okay,
Lindsay, we have a question in the chat. I'm just going to read it so that way I think you're best to answer this. Your list of milestones does not include department library milestones, correct? What other milestones are there?
Great question. Okay, so the list linked here in the chat does include the library milestones, which have been labeled as information literacy. So you'll see in that spreadsheet we've just defined them as success targets. So looking across the student experience, in what ways do we want students to be successful? So you'll see academic success milestones, you'll see professional success milestones, and you'll see what we call civic success milestones, so that active citizenship piece. And so the library milestones are embedded there in the academic piece, and then you'll see things that fall into Chris's shop in the professional category, and then things that fall into my shop in the civic category. There are a total of 47 milestones across those three categories, those three big buckets, and then each one is divided, or is placed into a subcategory, if you will. So all of that is there in that Qualtrics in the Qualtrics form, as well as the full list of milestones. But if anybody can't access that, if it doesn't open successfully, usually you click the link and it's an auto download. So if anyone has trouble with that, I can also put a link to a OneDrive file here in the chat.
Thanks, Lindsay. Another question from the chat. Jenny, I think this is best for you. What graduation planning is in place for students interested in going to med school?
That's a great question. All incoming students at the end of our rollout will have a graduation plan. And so their post-graduation plans will be integrated into their milestones so that they can achieve those. So I haven't looked at a med school plan lately, but I have looked at a law school plan lately. And the history department, for example, has written in things like attend the law school fair in this semester. And also, so they have them attend the law school fair pretty early on to see what they might be interested in, so they can see what their goals should be, their academic goals, and then later to actually meet people where they might be going to law school. So graduation plans obviously span all different majors and focus students on different industries. So whatever milestones that the pre-med faculty and department chairs of students who usually go into pre-med would like to add, those are the milestones they'll be following. Did that answer the question? Does that make sense?
Jenny, it's Shelley Ruff. Thank you for answering the question. I'd like to do a follow-up, if you don't mind, to ensure that we actually have a connection more direct with you. Thank you.
Thanks.
And then Doug, I believe you were next.
Okay, thanks, Chris. When Jenny, this probably comes to you, but when you were talking about students being on plan and off plan, or somebody was mentioning that, it got me to thinking that, you know, some students have 2 majors and a minor and a certificate, and so they have actually multiple plans. Like, who decides when they're off plan? Is it their primary advisor? Can it be any advisor that's associated with any of their plans? So it's like, who decides when they're on and off plan, and then who puts them back on plan? And can they be on plan in their major but off plan in their minor? So there's some of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. And we have not yet integrated double majors and minors and certificates into this right now. The plan, every student's plan will include 1 major. And then if the faculty, or if the success advisor and the student integrate a minor or a double major into that plan, because that's the student's goal, remember, a plan is co-created. So the student and the success advisor co-create their plan, and then it is that success advisor with that first major that keeps the student on plan or notices if they're off plan. I don't know if you've looked in the Faculty and Advising Center lately, but it's really cool. You can sort by students who are off plan and enrolled, who are your advisees, and get a very quick list of all of the students who might need your attention if you're a success advisor. So success advisors will be monitoring and updating plans. Sarah pointed out earlier that faculty advisors are a very important part of a student's experience, but this is a pretty intense process to co-create a 4-year plan with a student. In addition to their academics, also having all their milestones in that plan. And like you point out, their minors and co-majors and all of those things. So success advisors will be working with them to do that. And then that initial success advisor will monitor that they are on plan.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next question, where can students and folks helping them find the list of faculty staff who are in the network as faculty mentors, success advisors, career folks, etc.? So I shared previously my career team who are available to any student on campus, whether or not they are part of the Guarantee Plus programs. So that's one small caveat that I forgot to mention, is whether or not the college or the program is part of the Guarantee Plus, our students have access to the Career Achievement Network. We are working on getting our websites migrated and updated with all of our teams, so that will be there. Success advisors and advisors in general are listed on DARS. If I say anything wrong, Jenny, just please correct me. But I don't believe faculty mentors are in DARS yet. Is that correct?
Colleges have the opportunity to list more than one advisor, and the registrar is working to make a more specific space available in the student center, that where a student can see who their success advisor is and who their faculty advisor or faculty mentor, whichever term the college is choosing to go with, where that person is.
So Christine, I hope that answers your question. If you have any follow-up, we're happy to provide more clarity there. And then the next question, since we're rolling out in phases, will there be a point in time where the Guarantee Plus is required, or is a requirement to follow? So this is usually a Jen Murphy answer, but the students have the opportunity to opt in. And while we're encouraging all, we are not requiring, but that's one of the pieces that we had really great opt-in rates during phase 1 and phase 2. But students should also have the choice to not want to participate and not want to do the milestones or things like that. So that's where that space comes in. So they will have the opportunity to not opt in, but again, we are strongly encouraging students to do that.
So we don't ever plan to require it, because there are some students who just want to attend Ohio University and take classes, and that's it. And so if that's the case, then that is still possible.
Jenny, could you say a little bit more about the off-plan status as a result of a co-curricular milestone? And we get that question a lot.
Yes, we do get that question a lot. Thanks, Lindsay. So some people have asked us, like, if let's say one of your milestones is to attend the law fair that I mentioned earlier, if you're a pre-law student. And also it's a milestone for you to take the history classes that are required for your history major. Let's say you don't take your junior composition history class, then all of us would agree, oh yes, you're off plan, right? Because that's a really critical piece of graduating on time. And for history majors, that's often a spot where they get stuck, or, you know, they don't take it and whatever. It's a sticky spot for them. So at the same time, they have a milestone of needing to go to the law fair. Well, let's say they take all the correct classes, but on the day of the law fair, they forget and they don't go. And we get the attendance list from the law fair. We upload that, mark who attended, and this student did not attend, and now the law fair is over. And so they are also off plan. So what a lot of people are curious about is like, but they're still going to graduate on time, so they should be on plan. But that's not what this is about. On plan and off plan, it's not about completing the curricular essentials and the requirements in order to graduate. On plan is a higher bar than that. On plan means graduating with a full holistic Ohio University experience. So people say to me, but attending a law fair is not the same as attending your advanced writing class as a history major. Those are not equal. And I say, that's right. It's like apples and oranges. They are not the same, but they're all fruit and it's all important. So that's why we use that. Now, what would you do if you were meeting with a student who was off plan because they didn't attend the law fair? As an advisor, I might ask them, okay, you missed the law fair, so you're off plan, but what other things could you do to get the kind of information that you would have gotten if you had attended the law fair? And I might ask them to look up their 5 favorite law schools and figure out, you know, the ones they were most interested in right now, and figure out what the requirements were and the application deadlines, and learn more about the cost and the potential financial aid and the scholarships available. And if they did that, then I would say, okay, now you're back on plan because you got the information you needed. You had the kind of experience that we want you to have. You are prepared. So now you're back on plan.
So another question, according to the PowerPoint, RHE and eCamps will be included in the fall of 22 and fall 23. Is that respectively or jointly over a 2-year period? Joe, I think those are ongoing conversations that I think some of the intricacies, we didn't necessarily want to rush getting everything in just to get them in. We want to be really strategic and intentional. I think those are part of ongoing conversations, and we can get you more information about that afterwards. And Jenny, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I do. So what we can say is that all Athens campus-based programs will be in stage 3, which is fall of 2022. And then after that, it's negotiable based on what people think. Like, actually, some of that is going to not come from us, Joe, but it's going to come from you. We're going to say, well, what do you think? What can you do in the fall of 2023, and what can't be done? Some examples are, if you know that a big program change is coming your way, then it might just be better to hold off for a second and push that one until the 4th year of our rollout. That's a good example. I would think that some of the correctional programs might be something that you might want to postpone just for the complicated nature of those. I don't know. Like, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's a negotiated conversation of what you think is possible. But for everyone else on the call, all Athens programs will be up and going by stage 3.
Super. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. And I did share a PDF of the presentation, so that way hopefully it'll open and not have any issues for everybody, but that's in there, and it has all of our staff as well. The next question, when we talk about graduation plans, we talk about graduating in 4 years. Student's goal might not necessarily be. Absolutely. So are they still able to participate even if they don't plan to graduate in 4 years? Absolutely. One of the other pieces, Andy, that you mentioned, it might be more than 8 semesters. It could also be shorter. We have so many students that are coming in with College Credit Plus and AP credits and things like that. And this goes back to when they first build that graduation plan with their advisor. There's that ability to adapt and make those changes. And if a student, has a poor semester that they need to have a summer semester or take an additional semester, they're able to go in and revise that plan with their success advisor to be able to do that. If you have, I think you mentioned in your question, maybe a non-traditional student who is working full-time, they are able to adjust those graduation plans. This is a roadmap for students to know what they need to do, but they'll be able to tailor that specific to their program and to them specifically. And so absolutely, whether it is more time, less time, we have that flexibility for that. Jenny, Lindsay, anything that you want to add there?
No.
Lindsay, there's a question. Did you see that? Okay,
Working
perfect.
on it.
And then I saw a hand go up. Maureen?
So I just want to clarify, a student who has completed all of their academic requirements but is not completed with their graduation plans, their degree is still going to be conferred.
Absolutely. You can graduate off plan.
Yeah, I think that some of our non-academic partners are not hearing that, and I just want to make sure that that's perfectly clear.
Yes.
That there's no graduation part associated with the plan.
No, that's correct. You graduate when your degree requirements are met based on your JARS, still, forever, and always.
I think I've gotten through all of the questions in the chat, but if you do have any, again, we're happy to continue to answer these. These are great questions. I feel like we've gotten a couple that I don't feel like we've had in previous roadshows, so that's amazing. I love it. Anything else that people would like to ask?
I do have one more. This is very interesting. I appreciate everyone's work. And I attended the first one, and so I came to this one as well because I see that you guys have continued to incorporate feedback and lessons learned as you went through. So this is good. So another question is, can students voluntarily upgrade their milestones? In other words, say the minimum milestone is GPA. To be on track would be you need to have a 2.0. So that's probably default, like you're in good standing because you have a 2.0 GPA. Well, a student in Ohio Honors, to be on track as a sophomore, they might have to have a 3.1. So, you know, could they say when they meet with their advisor, like, I'm in Ohio Honors, so I want my GPA goal to be 3.1. Or is that something that we're going to have to meet? You know, obviously we'll monitor that in Ohio Honors separately, but I'm just wondering if that could be incorporated into their main plan so that we're all on the same page as a team, because I don't want someone to be saying, oh, you're on track. Yeah, they're on track in as far as good standing, but they're really not on track in this other area. So,
Lindsay.
Yeah, I was going to say I can take that, Jenny. Yeah, so there are two sort of standard GPA related milestones that are available to build into a plan. So one is just the minimum 2.0 that we hope every student maintains. And then the other one is earn a specified GPA. And so that's sort of the prompt to the advisor to say, is there an academic reason, a co-curricular reason, any sort of thing that you're involved in that requires that higher than a 2.0 GPA? And we've done the work of checking programmatically if a major requires a 2.5 or something like that. We've done that work, so that's built in. So that will come sort of built into a student's major template. But there is the opportunity and the prompt even to have that conversation with the student built in.
Great, thank you.
But Doug, you hit on something really important, which is as we come out of the gate with this, they're well developed, but perhaps more basic than they will be in a few years. So if you have a list of things that are required of Ohio Honor students and you would like to incorporate those into plans, we're all in favor of taking expectations that this university has of groups of students and incorporating that into the graduation plan, because that's how we make holistic, deep, rich experiences.
Right.
Thanks for the question, Doug. And then the next, we have a similar or a question that kind of builds off of that. Or Jenny, did you just talk about the specific with graduation plans? Sorry, I'm trying to get in the things. So is there a specific milestone in the programs? I think you started to touch on this, but as all of the graduation plans are built, we've worked with department chairs, directors of programs to incorporate those specific milestones. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add there too, Jenny or Lindsay.
Yeah, I'll just say that, so Doug, yesterday, Christy Zemter and I sat down, and so, I apologize, there's a tractor in the background, but we sat down and mapped all of our civic milestones, all of the co-curricular milestones to the honors program requirements. So that's going to be an improvement in stage 3 in a way, something that we have, that our success advisors have, and all of you in OHP will have as a quick reference this year in stage 2. So, and Christine, that is something that we could do for Cutler Scholars and any other programs. So I'd be happy to sit down with anyone who wanted to do that co-curricular mapping to build out some milestones that would be helpful to a specific student group.
And Maureen has a really good point. It would be great if we could put scholarship and financially based GPA requirements in a graduation plan. Yes, Maureen, I think that would really help. I know you must have, as I have, dug through a student's email or student center to find their letter that specifically states it. And if that could just be visible in a graduation plan, that would be fantastic. So these are all kind of like next level places that we're looking to go. And thank you for that suggestion. We'll take that.
And Jenny, just for clarification, there is no integration right now with that stuff, right?
There is no integration right now, right?
Okay, perfect. And Sarah?
Oh, thank you. I just had a question about the possibility. I know you've talked about linking co-curricular experiences to milestones. Is there a way to link curricular experiences to milestones? Because we know certain things are covered in the learning community in some colleges, or there might be a course in a specific department that integrate students or helps them achieve some of the milestones. Is that something that's possible so that when students complete the course, it can map to those milestones?
Yes, and not just possible, happening as of this semester. So we've got some good examples. You mentioned learning communities. So there are some milestones that we've just established. If it's in their first semester plan and they're in UC 1900 and they pass that class, then those automatically, without the advisor having to do the work, without the student having to say, I did that in my learning community, those get auto checked, yes, through a batch upload, through a report. And we're doing the work in the next few weeks, and it will be an ongoing thing, but of collecting information, doing sort of a survey. Here are the milestones. Do these map consistently to a course? No matter who's teaching it, that's no matter what the section, HC 2400 meets these milestones. The libraries did that really effectively last year. So many of the library milestones by program are embedded curricularly. So we're talking to the registrar tomorrow, in fact, about how to make sure that this course, there's a report and it just automatically happens. So yeah, we've started that. We have lots more to do.
Okay, that's great. So however we can help in that process or understand where they're not met or where they are, just let me know who we need to work with on that, because I think that's something that our departments, when they understand this, I think a little bit more fully, will be really interested in mapping to in some cases.
Awesome. Thank you.
Chris, I think I can answer Tanya and Ken's question, if that would help.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Tanya, you had a great question about if this whole concept will be sustainable if we don't require students to opt in. And the answer is yes, and here's why. The guarantee and the graduation plan mean to a student that, remember, when we make a plan and we sign off on that, that guarantees you that that plan will be available to you as a student. So what that means is if we mess up somehow and we don't offer a class that you need that is in your plan your senior year, we will make that right. So I think it will be sustainable because it is a promise to a student that universities should have been making for the last 100 years and haven't been. Because I'm sure you've heard of the student who, their senior year, they have one more requirement and it's not offered and no one told them. Well, those days are over. Ohio University is guaranteeing to help a student graduate on a very specific plan to provide everything that student needs. An exemption if we make a mistake, or planned classes sufficient to meet their requirements, so that they don't have to spend extra opportunity costs, which is what it's costing them to stay in college longer, financial costs to actually pay for staying in college, and the time and energy that it takes to graduate late when they should have graduated on time and on plan. And then Ken, we were just talking about this last week when we were talking about beginning the process of integrating the College of Education into the graduation plan program. I know that in the College of Education, you keep a very long list of milestones in a different system that are required for education majors, and we would love to have that integrated into the graduation plans. So as we begin our discussions, we will work with you to figure out what's possible right at the beginning, what's possible later. But all success advisors and people in the college, we're having that access discussion right now of who needs the access to be able to check off a milestone. And so please think about what it is that you need in the College of Education, because we'll be there shortly with you asking those questions.
And just to add on to that too, is the conversations that we're having here at the ACE is to try to automate as much as possible, right? We don't want this to inundate a staff member or all of our teams to have to go in and manually do all of these individually. We want to try to automate or batch upload as much as possible, so that way it makes it streamlined, but students can see, at specific times during a semester, what they still need to accomplish, what they've already accomplished, things like that. So for those that are part of the Guarantee Plus already, those are conversations that we're having to make sure that, again, from the student perspective, they have that visibility, but also from our staff side, we're able to help out in all ways possible. And for those that are coming on later, those will be part of those discussions as we ramp up for stage 3 and stage 4.
Okay, I guess my question was more about like our administrative assistant who usually enters background check information, or our licensure specialist who is not an advisor to enter OAE scores. Those would be possible. We could enter that. They could have access to complete those. Okay, thank you.
What we most likely would do, and so what we're doing with so not all information, right, is academic, not all information co-curricularly lives in one place. And so we're working with a variety of partners. For example, the Office of Global Opportunities. They're going to run a report for us and then send it to our staff for upload to the grad plan system. So that's probably what we'll arrange, Ken. We'll say, who is our contact person on your staff to get us the information that we can import all at once, so that nobody on your team has to go, okay, this student got their background check, click. And now this student got their background check, click. So we'll work that out together.
Jen Washko asks a great question about curricular milestones only being completed based on the success of the course. That is correct, and we are pleased to announce that you can put a specific grade that is required for a class. I know that's really important for some programs in as a part of meeting that requirement. So yes, a curricular milestone will only be met when that class is successfully completed. Thank you, Jen.
So what percentage student opt-in did we have for this semester? I know in the presentation we had that number was 75%, but that was just after BSO. Jenny, do you have the updated?
Yes, in fact, we had 660 students. I don't know how many we invited, but out of this year's incoming class, 660 students did not opt in immediately at BSO. They all received a text last week with the explanation for why they should opt in and the link to do it. Then this week, they are receiving a to-do through the My Ohio Success Network to encourage them to opt in before October 4th, which is when the plans will become available for students and success advisors to begin customizing and individualizing for each major. And then students have until December 3rd to opt in. That is important because registration advising will happen before the deadline to opt in. So clearly, if they already have to sit with an advisor, anybody who hasn't opted in yet is either going to have to explain, this is why I don't want to do this, or they're going to need to click on the button. So we won't really know how many students opt in until December 3rd. But I can tell you that we are actively engaging the students who have not yet opted in so that they see the importance of that. And we're doing that in many different modalities, conversations, outreach attempts to work with them to show them the importance of choosing this for their best Ohio University experience.
And Jen Murphy just shared that we're close to 82% current opt-in. So moving on up still. We can get more information as we continue to have students through that really intentional outreach. Other questions? This is great. Joe.
Thank you, Chris. I think this is for Lindsay. Maybe Lindsay, do I understand that right? That some courses, credit-bearing courses, will qualify the student as having completed their experiential learning part of the initiative. And if that's the case, are those courses designated in a certain way, or are those courses retroactively being recognized? Are those courses being currently developed? And if so, could you talk a little bit about conversations that you're having? If eCampus is going to be a part of the initiative, then those courses would also have to be offered online.
Right. Yeah. So a variety of things here. One, the courses that could qualify as experiential learning there's been a year-long process to date, and I'm sure this will continue, but basically to get BRICS designation as a Bridges Learning and Doing class. So those are minimum 1 credit. Some people are attaching that credit to an existing class and adding an experiential component, but that's the curricular piece of the experiential learning requirement, if you will. But in graduation plans, the students will be encouraged to do 2. So they will have 2 experiential learning milestones. So one is called an immersive professional experience, and the other is called an immersive civic experience. So really encouraging students to take maybe more than one BRICS learning and doing class, or maybe have some sort of co-curricular leadership opportunity that they're involved in, like being a BSO leader or being an LCL, a learning community leader, or an RA, or a lot of other really immersive experiences that aren't credit bearing. So we've built the plans to encourage at least 2 things, one that is really professional development and one that is perhaps broader, rounder, would engage those soft skills. But does that answer your question, Joe? The eCampus conversation, I think we have time to work that out, but I don't know the role of BRICS in eCampus. And I have a whole spiel on how to, I really think online courses are great places to do experiential learning, but that's a different topic.
And I would agree. Thank you, Lindsay. Yes, that answered my question.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Y'all, these are amazing questions. Anything else that we can answer for you? I haven't seen anything else pop in the chat, question-wise.
Can I circle us back to, we've talked a lot about the plans and the academic piece and the experiential piece, but I just want to say that the thing I'm most excited about is the integrated career launching that is incorporated in a plan throughout the student's experience. So I think that at Ohio University, we've been doing a really good job of educating our students, but then their senior year, sometimes there's this like little wobble of like, what do I do now? And I was just at K Jeweler the other day picking out a necklace for my daughter's birthday, and I met one of our graduates and I talked to her for a while because she hadn't realized her post-graduation goals. And, if working the counter at K Jeweler was her post-graduation goal, that would be fine, but it wasn't. And she wasn't sure how to do that. She didn't know that there was still help available to her. I, of course, if you know me, I engaged her in that discussion, gave her several referrals, encouraged her to pursue her post-graduation plans, told her we were all still there to support her far after her graduation. But that's the piece I'm most excited about. And Chris, I don't know if you want to add anything to that you haven't had a chance to say yet, but while we're talking about their co-curricular experiences and their academic, their specific coursework, the thing I think that's really revolutionary is in your area.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. It really is one of those pieces where I'm excited about that as well, is embedding career into conversations starting from the moment they step on campus, just to help them start to think about the career after Ohio University, right? Whether that happens after grad school, whether that happens immediately after graduation, after military service, there's lots of different routes that our students go, but to have them start to think about that is really great. And so when we talk about career in this new model, right, and really intentional with the Career Achievement Network, thinking that it's not one place that students go, it's a support system all around campus through the success advisors that they meet during BSO and in their first semester, and the Career Achievement Network that is, this industry model is focused on equity and access regardless of your discipline. to access those employers and those opportunities that you might be interested in. Again, I was a religion major, not a priest, working in education, right? And so being able to also have the opportunity to work in sales, work in finance during my career, work in IT during my career. Again, there's lots of ways that students can go. And so to be able to help them start to explore and then really get connected is amazing. So very excited about that. And again, it starts with success advisors and then experienced designers and the Career Achievement Network that all students have access to. But it also comes in different places such as faculty, right? There's no replacement for the folks that have worked in industry that are teaching those really specific skills and competencies for students to be successful. That's career at the core, is getting students ready. So it comes in lots of different phases. So very excited to continue to refine and build this model to support our students.
I see Andy Helms on the call, and I don't know, there may be other colleagues from admissions here with us today. And I hope, Andy, that that's a message that you can take back to admissions, and that this message can really be incorporated into how we communicate the opportunity of being a Bobcat to our undergraduate, people considering coming to Ohio University, because this really is a holistic model that will help our students achieve their post-graduation plans. And I think that's going to be a big piece of our recruitment strategy going forward.
Yeah, I'll just jump in, Jenny, and add, this from an admissions perspective, all of this information is fantastic. This is the type of information that we want to be communicating to our prospective students in terms of the commitment that the university is making to their success, both during the 4-ish years that they're here and afterwards. So we've already started talking a little bit about the more so the academic planning and how that relates to the Graduation Plus, but I think we're continuing to refine. Sorry, my cat is very excited about the ACE. We're continuing to refine that language and work in some of the experiential and career outcomes as well. So I will say from my side, parents especially love this, right? You can see the parents' eyes get bigger when we start talking about some of these services. So we're excited about it from a recruitment perspective too.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Last chance, last minute questions.
You can book us. We're on tour. So if you do want us to come, like if a significant number of your staff members did not hear this and you think it would be good for them, please let us know. We want to get this message out so that the whole university community is on board with us.
Yes, and with that, we're gonna wrap up here. Thank you all so much for coming in and hearing what we're doing, and for the amazing dialogue and the questions that you've asked. Absolutely amazing. We can't thank you enough. We look forward to collaborating with you and sharing more updates as we go. But have an incredible day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Sarah.